The song that you hear playing in the intro is a song that I wrote in college around the year of 1992. I wrote just the music for it, so all the music on the track is written by me. The lyrics were written by a friend of mine in college. I was in a college band at the time, and we needed a song, and I had some music and took it to the singer, and we put some words to it, and the drummer at the time also helped in fitting in the lyrics within the music. You know, we got the backbones of the song, and later we went to my friend's house in Fort Smith and recorded that song. But that's just a snippet of some of the recordings that I've done. And I got my inspiration back when I was in high school to start recording music, and specifically start recording guitar instrumentals. I didn't have recording equipment, but I would read the guitar magazines, and I would see in there how they had the 4 tracks, and rarely would you see an 8-track in there. But a lot of people were doing it with 4 tracks home recording, and I was wanting to grab some equipment. Couldn't afford the equipment, so what did I do? Kind of grabbed a keyboard with some pre-programmed drums on it and a tape recorder, and I just recorded stuff in my bedroom. And I recorded a lot of songs. I got notebooks full of songs that I wrote when I was in high school. Some of them I've recorded and produced today. But that's pretty much where a lot of the things that my recording started was back in high school. I'd also study how to record, how the waves would bounce off in the room, how you would need to position mics and things like that, just by looking in magazines. So when I got in a studio environment, I would know my way around a little bit of what I was doing. But little did I know the digital age was going to come up, and the digital age hit pretty much when I was right out of high school, or before I was out of high school. I remember the Van Halen album For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge was one of the first albums that I saw that was recorded, had a big sticker on it, said it was digitally recorded or digitally mastered. So it's something that was really, catching the industry by storm. And as I moved on, went into college, of course you heard the song here, but before I got with the band, my college band, my first roommate in college, he played guitar, he played bass. He was, a musician like myself, played different instruments, and he's looking at doing some of the same stuff in recording. He knew some of the guys in Northwest Arkansas with recording experience that toured around in the area, played at the clubs, and had access to a 24-track, which it was a 24-track board, but it was on a 8-track reel-to-reel to record on. So he had a brother, and he gave him I think it was for his birthday, gave him a birthday gift of recording, and his brother and a friend, we all went up to Bentonville, Arkansas, somewhere around the area of where the Walmart distribution is up there, Sam's distribution, all that stuff is somewhere in that area. I can't remember where it was at, but there's a little house there we went and recorded in, and they did some overdubs of some drum tracks, solo pieces that they had written. Me and my roommate, we also recorded a song. It's one of the first recordings I'd done. I was nervous, but I went in and done a one take on the song, and I wanted to record another take, but they both convinced me that the first take was good enough, so that's what we went with. And I was proud of that recording. Still remember the recording. I didn't write the song. I was playing my friend's song, but I was really glad just to, get my chops down in the studio to see how my guitar sounded and, the things that I could do. And, it seemed like the ball was rolling from there, and we started creating more songs together. We lived in different towns, and we sent songs back and forth through tapes and snail mail sometimes. You guys may not know anything about that, but sing songs back and forth, different ideas, and we'd get to record on the weekend. And I would go to his house, and some of the first recordings we done were done like a little small 4-track machine, and I don't think he ever had an 8-track, but eventually he jumped up into some digital equipment. And the digital equipment, I believe, was around the year 91, 92 or something like that. And we laid down the tracks to a few songs. Usually it took us a whole weekend just to record one song, because sometimes we'd do digital drum programming, and I could play the keyboard. He could also play the keyboard. We also done some, I think some MIDI tracks, and we had a MIDI keyboard there where I could play some things, and we would just edit those things, and we would get his brother sometimes to play drums. He made this little trigger set to put on the drums, I remember, and sometimes when he hit the snare in the middle of a song, the snare would double click, so we would get, double hit on the snare, so we would have to go in there and edit the MIDI and make sure it was a single hit. So it was a lot, going on, because the digital age was new to us, and, figuring out ways to do different things. But some of the tracks that we made were, they stand the test of time today compared to today's music. May not be so much with the loudness, but as far as recording quality, the quality was way ahead of its time for that area. We recorded on, as we went digital. Well, let me go back for a second. When we hit the 4 tracks, they were just like little expensive cassette tapes that you could record to, like 4 tracks on those. As we stepped up to digital, more 8-track, 24-track and stuff like that, it was on like a super VHS tape that you stuck in the machine, and that's what we were recorded to, and that's what we would master to, and then jump those off to cassette tapes and pass them out, or, give them to our friends, or however that we wanted to use them. But that was our project. It was called Harmonic Motion. That's a lot of the songs we produced together. As we progressed through college, we met up with some other people. They wanted to make a band. They had asked me to be in the band, and we didn't really have a bass player, but I know my ex-roommate now, he played bass, so I called him up. He come in and, joined the band. We had a full band there. We had drummer, bass, I was on guitar, and we had a male lead singer, and a female lead singer. And so we were one of the first bands that we had dual lead singers, and one being a female, she also played guitar on some of the tracks that she wrote. Now, at the time, I had written songs with lyrics, but the songs that I wrote were not meant for this type of band, so I didn't even bring in any of those types of songs to them, because it just the whole vibe of the band really didn't fit. Some of the tracks that we covered were a lot of Pearl Jam and Toad and the Wet Sprocket. There was a few others that I can't remember just off the top of my head, but it was a really good time to be playing Northwest Arkansas, and played a few coffee shops down there, and just overall good experience. A lot of good feedback from the people that came out to see us at some of the places. But moving on from there, getting out of college and going on with life, I didn't have access to a lot of, recording equipment at the time. So recording had ceased for a few years until I could gather up my own digital studio and computer and things to record with. And that took research, and it took time to find out what programs I needed to use, what type of computer. And the interesting thing about it is you never find the perfect combination. You never find the perfect combination that you want. I'm still looking for the perfect combination today. But around the year 98, 99, I found the equipment that I could use to make my next project. I wasn't really trying to put together a project specifically. I was more or less wanting to improve my recording skills, but as I put things on tape, I wrote more songs, and those songs became my first release. It was called version 1.0. The reason it got the version 1.0 is because it was, its own computer, and there was a lot of the talk at the time, updates on software. You had different types of versions, so I just went with that. It was like my first version of recording, and a lot of the songs that were on there were just kind of experimental tracks, and sometimes if you go back and listen to it, you hear blips and cuts and different types of blurbs in there that I know are there. Some people they don't hear them at all. But it was a fantastic experience, which led me up into the 2005 creation of my second release called Earth Souls. You can find Earth Souls in version 1.0 on iTunes today. So that was one of the things I did as Digital Age, is to get the music out there on all the streaming platforms or platforms where you could buy music. Earth Souls was second creation. Also done some trading of tracks from people across the world. Some people from London, Spain, Portugal, lots of different places. We put together like a tribute CD to Joe Satriani up on his website. And the project was called Talk to Joe. And there's actually 3 CD releases for Talk to Joe for the tributes. It was something that he signed off on and gave us permission to do and he endorsed it, put his name on it, and we released it. One of the tracks that I put on there is on my second CD. You can go check it out, the Earth Souls. But recording is something that I never stopped doing. And first studio, I named my first studio T1 Studios. I had T2, T3 as I progressed through and advanced with, better equipment and better sound quality. I changed the name, but I also knew that I had to have a publishing company to publish my music under. And it's more the business side. And that's where the OME comes in at. A lot of you seen that and, know that's kind of like a nickname. That stands for One Man's Expression. That's where the expression in my other projects comes from. Is the One Man's Expression. It used to have some gear I'd take to shows and hand out and sell hats, t-shirts, and things like that. So it's just a progression of recording. At the moment, my current studio, I'm putting together another project. Especially during COVID, I've had a lot of time to just sit down and polish out tracks. Now, I've had songs written. Some songs I've taken from songs I've written years ago. Some of them are new songs. Some of them are songs that I wrote in 10 minutes just on a walk. Some of them are from years ago. Some of them are from right before COVID. So it's a blend of a lot of different types of songs. And I just went to recording, and I didn't really have a name or a theme in mind for writing. It was just more or less of what can I get on tape? What song am I going to make today? Some songs got finished. Some songs are still in pieces, but some of them are, they kind of fit for a good project. So I decided to put some things together and going to be releasing another project here in the next few months. You say 2022. Yeah, I didn't really put a deadline on it because I didn't want to rush through anything. But the more that I recorded, the more excited I got about it. And some of the songs come together, and some of the songs that I knew were good songs, but I decided to leave off. Left those off the new album. I've got a lot of instrumental songs, some songs with lyrics. Some people think I write songs and just can't sing or can't write lyrics, but that's not true. It's just a part of my expression is to write the instrumental stuff. So I don't know when I'll release some of the songs that I sing on, but they probably won't be any on this project right here. I'll be saving those for a separate project or maybe some special releases or something like that. But just wanted to get on here and talk about my experience as recording, because it's been one of the things been occupying a lot of my time between that and just regular life adventures and school and things like that. It's just the creation side, being creative, expression, and keeping those juices flowing. And of course the podcast. And you guys know, you've heard it by now, I record a new podcast every Monday. It's called the Mega Talks Podcast. Every Monday's episode are usually short 15-minute talks, where I call them mini talks. Check out previous podcasts where I've had guests. We get on here and we chat for maybe an hour and a half sometimes, or something like that. But it's over, I believe it's coming up on 80 to 90 episodes. But I'm not exactly keeping count now, but check it out on iTunes, Podbean. I think it's on Stitcher, Azul. Some of the episodes are on YouTube. There's a lot of different places. But wherever you check it out, leave me a comment. Let me know that you're listening and what you think about the podcast. And maybe you would like to hear me speak on a particular subject, or maybe of someone you want to have on the show. So leave me a comment, shoot me a message, let me know that you're here and what you're thinking. And I'll get with you guys in the next episode of the Mega Talks Podcast.